Hey, and welcome again, guys. This is Samurai C, and we'll be talking today on how do you know which officers are good. I hope you guys have been enjoying the game so far, and I hope you have checked out my previous video on how to start out playing Kingdom Story. Alright, so let's just get into it. So, right there, we're looking at three pretty good officers: Lady Shu, there, Liang Po, and Zhuang Shunhua. Hopefully, I pronounced that well. Alright, so let's just get right into it. So I'm pretty sure, like myself, when you just started playing this game and you completed the first aspect of it, you now want to know, okay, how do I get a good officer, and how do I know is this officer good? Okay, so after playing this game for a while, and I've been playing other similar games with same format prior to Kingdom Story, so I pretty much have a good idea of what's going on. Alright, so how do you know? Let's look into it. So first, when you get your first officer, you'll be choosing from the three kingdoms that I showed in the previous video: Wei, Wu, and Shu. So in knowing which officers are good, I think the best place to start is with the kingdoms. So let's look at the kingdoms. So after you've entered the officer option on the menu to the left, you're going to be directed here. So let's look at nations, right? So click nations. So there you can see all the different nations in the game. And as I said prior, you'd be starting out with an officer from either Wei, Shu, or Wu. Now, three kingdoms that I'm sure have really good officers are the Warring States Kingdom, the Samurai Kingdom, and the Shu Han conflict. So if you get an officer from either of these kingdoms early in the game, it's best that you build a team surrounding or supporting these officers because they're pretty good. Liang Po, for example, is from the Warring State. I got him earlier in the game from Banquet Hall in one of those chances of pulls. Alright, so let's just continue. So as I said, the kingdom, so you can, if you get an officer from either the Warring State, Samurai, or Shoan conflict, you're pretty much sure to have a good officer there. But the Wei, Shu, Wu, Han, Barbarian kingdoms, they also have good officers, and we'll get into how you know which officers from each of these nations are actually good. So let's look at Liang Po, for example. Yeah. So this is Liang Po. He's from the Warring State, as you can see there in his description. Alright. So in knowing which officers are good, the best are the first thing to look at after you look at the kingdom is the actual, well, let's look at the different types of officers in case you haven't remembered. So look, you can know which officers are what type based on the icon beside their name. So right there you can see a sword, that's a warrior. And going back, you can look at the class as well to remember all the different types there. Right, so those are different types. They're warrior, your marshal, your bowmaster, you have your strategist, as well as your monarch. The monarch is the one with the helmet. Alright, so the rank. That's the next thing to look at when you want to know if the officer is good. The ranking is showed by the amount of stars that's below the officer. Now, different officers have a max rank. Liang Po, for example, have a 7-star max rank. So you look for an officer with at least or maximum 7-star rank. That's how you know that officer has, a great potential for growth. If you see an officer with less than a 7-star max, then you know that officer is not so good. For example, let me see if I can find one. Down. Oops. Same moving. Oops. Alright, look at Shun Shuang Zhang. She has 6. So her potential for growth is limited to just 6 stars. Not that that means she's not a good officer, but just know that her potential is limited to just 6 stars. There are other things that decides whether an officer is actually good or not, and we'll go into that. Alright, so back to Liang Po. The next thing to look at is the attributes. So when I say attributes, you have to click on this helmet here. This helmet here where you see, you'll be directed there first anyways. and you scroll down a bit, and there you see attributes. Now, depending on the type of officer that you have, so remember, you look at the icon beside your name to know what type of officer it is, right there. Depending on the type, so warriors like Lianpo, force attribute is their best ability. So when you get a warrior officer, you look at the force. An officer with a high initial force number is actually, a good officer, and the force contributes to the HP, attack, and HP regeneration. So warriors, their main ability is force, and I mean the warriors are in the front line, so therefore you have to have them with high HP and high attack because they're basically tanks. So if you get a warrior, you look at the attributes and you look for a high force. Leadership as well, it's good to have a warrior with good leadership because leadership contributes armor, as you can see there. So if you get a warrior, look at their force and look at their leadership, and hopefully if the numbers are high, then you have a good chance that you have a good warrior right there. Now if you get a officer of another type, say a monarch like Lu Chen, so there's a monarch right at the sign. Monarch's main ability is intellect, just like strategist, and the intellect increases their attack. So if you get a monarch with if you get a monarch officer or a strategist, you're looking for their intellect to be extremely high. Strategist and monarch also, you want them to stay alive longer on the field, so it's good to have either good armor or good force, which would contribute HP. So how do you know actually whose attributes are high? You don't look at a leveled up officer like I have here. Mine is at level 32. You can come to where you see here all up the top right, and this is where you can find all the officers that's actually in the game, and you can also find them at their lowest level available, and you can actually look at their base attributes and see how high is it, and you can decide, okay, this officer has a high attribute based on the type of officer it is, whether it's a warrior, bowmaster. His attributes are high, so therefore I'm looking forward to getting this officer because he stands a better chance of having or being a good officer. So those are two things to look at. So look at for example, Baiki. Let's look at Baiki. Pretty amazing looking officer there. He's force, he's a warrior, as you can see there, right here. Where is it? It's not coming up. But look at the sign beside his name. He's a warrior, and his force is 848. That's pretty high. And his leadership is 808. That's very high. Those two are very high. So you know that this is a really good tank. In comparison to, say, Charlotte, whose force is 688 and leadership is 670, and she's also a warrior. She's also a good warrior, but not so much as Baiki. So that's one thing you can look at. Another thing that is to look at to know if your officer is good. The next thing is skill. Now, there's a lot more to skill than just looking at it. So I'll have to do another video on this one. But the skill, you have to look at the skill. So look at the effect of the skill, how much damage it does, and what special abilities attached to it. Look at the second skill as well, look at the third and the fourth, and see if they complement each other. Once they do complement each other, then their officer standing alone by himself is actually a good officer. I'll make another video on how to looking in depth more at the skill. Alright, so after you've gone through those three steps, now you pretty much want to know, how do I get these guys? Alright, so during the tutorial they'll tell you where as well. So you can get officers at the banquet hall, which is this building over here. So currently the Chuhan officers up the top, these guys all the way up here close to the goal, these guys right here, they are they're having increased chances of pull from special recruit to the far left here. So the 1 year special recruit, these guys, their chances are increased when you know, use a special recruit. But these two, the premium recruit and the recruit, these are pretty much what you'll be using as a, you know, a free player. So let's look at premium recruit. So you get a free recruit every 24 hours, and also each day the recruit, which costs 300 ingots, it's a half price. So you can actually, I recommend you just do one pull per day, just 150 per day, and after 11 times doing it, you're guaranteed a 4-star officer, which is pretty good, a pretty good deal after, you know, 11 pull. All right, so now I'm going to, I got a 6-star resume from the anniversary event. So I'm going to be pulling an officer from that resume so you guys can see if I have any luck. So this here, 6-star officer. So from this resume, oh, you get officers from resumes, by the way. These red resumes are the ones that you pretty sure are guaranteed at least a 4-star officer. So once you get a red resume, you know, jump for joy. And they come at different, they provide you with different star officers. So this one here is a 6-star resume, officer resume, which I got from the anniversary event. This one gives 5 stars. So let's open a 6-star and see if we have any luck. Let's see what's gonna get. Well, a 6 stars, so it's not that good an officer, but a little bit disappointed. But that's, guys, that's how you get officers. That's how you know if your officers are good. And those are pretty much the steps in knowing, you know, whether or not the officer that you got is worth leveling up. So guys, thank you for being here with me. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more videos. I'll be doing a follow-up video on skills, so please check that out as well. Please leave a like down below and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.